3, 2, 1. And we should be live, but I'm going to just make real good and sure because everybody knows Susan lies. Okay, it's actually live. That's awesome news. Welcome to 3 May 2022. I totally forgot to do all of the pre-live steps yesterday. So, yeah, nobody's going to be here except Ozzy and Squatch is supposed to be somewhere, which is not here. I'm going to fucking pin this. Oh, yeah, F-bombs are armed and going to drop. Okay. No, I don't want to undo it, so fuck off. Okay, there's that. And that would be a personal problem, Squatch. I can't help you with it. Everybody knows I'm early for my streams. Yeah, fortify it with rum. Okay. You're supposed to be at your own stream, Squatch. Did you forget? What? Am I crazy? Are you? Are we both? Wait a second. I know I'm crazy. I know you're crazy. Okay, so both are crazy. All right. So, we love you, Susan. I love that little popping noise it makes. No, Ozzy, I can't. It's just a woman thing, and when you learn to accept it, your life is so much better. It is what it is. Ray never learned that lesson, which is why Ray ended up not Ray anymore. That's a everybody loves Raymond reference, people. Oh, excuse me. I got a little pop in my knee. All right. So I think we're all here who are going to make it because of some asshole who forgot to take the stream off of private mode until about 20-ish minutes ago and didn't send any invites out until about 20-ish minutes ago. So let's just move on. If you come in late, hey, understood. 90% of my viewers arrive late anyways. You know, I'm going to get into a little bit of a rant about that real quick. Susan, funny story. Back when I still had the Pornhub channel before they literally nuked everybody, my Alita video had something like 16,000 views, and it still is maybe broken 300 views so far. Care to explain that if you're the biggest platform? I'm just asking questions here. You don't have to go out of your way to answer it because we all know the answer anyways. Oh, excuse me. Okay, we're supposed to be started now. So I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. There was an active shooter in the Atlanta, Georgia area earlier today. The last I heard, he was still at large. He carjacked one vehicle, taken off, and then carjacked another vehicle and ditched it. This whole thing starts at, quote, a medical center somewhere in, no, of course it wasn't you, Squatch. Ask me how I know. It's not that he's here, folks. At a medical center somewhere in the Midtown area. Okay. Medical center covers a wide range of things. I'm going to proceed with the good faith that this has a degree of this wasn't a politically motivated thing. Funny thing, I remember being a junior in high school, so this could not have been any later than June, I think, of 1993. All right. There's all this talk about safe schools and guns out of schools and blah, 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 blah. I remember being a junior, Shasta High School, sitting in an open area right outside the school's office. It wasn't the quad. It was, the hell did we call that? Oh, this is 30 years ago, folks. Work with me. Almost 30 years ago. Work with me. At any rate, I'm sitting there eating lunch, and they're promising us that they'll make the school safe. The only thing we have to do is ban the guns, which I, even as a junior in high school, I understood that's not really going to do a whole hell of a lot, but it's a start. They also promised us that schools would be secured, that they will get school resources officers and they'll put security in and everything else. And I went back to Shasta High School. Now, Shasta's changed since 1984, which is when I graduated. It was next year, right? It basically doubled in size when they took over the old Foothill campus because the new Foothill campus was ready. And I'm walking around lost. I'm trying to find the school office because I need a copy of my diploma. Everything's changed, and I can't find anything. I was able to get not only into the building, but almost into a classroom before I even saw a sign that told me where I needed to go. Oh, hadn't been stopped by anybody. Hadn't even seen anybody. Now, I remember walking up thinking, geez, I hope I'm at least on a security camera or something. As far as I can tell, I never was. I remember I was going straight for the old office, not knowing anything had changed, walking up to the doors to the old school office, by the way, and seeing there's shelves across the doors, blocking an emergency exit. There's a sign that says go around to the other side of the building, and I finally did figure out where I needed to be at the old Nova High School front entrance. And I was still able not only to get into the building, to basically be outside of a classroom before anybody stopped me. Deer could have walked into that building. So much for that promise, huh? of that safe schools thing was that they were also banning guns from medical centers. This was a reaction to the late 80s into mid 90s uh, uh, abortion clinic shootings. Okay, okay, I get that that was a thing. Obviously, they didn't keep the promise. They didn't even try. If I was able to walk into a school that has been around, the school campus that has been around since the 1950s. Yeah, before Shasta High School was Shasta High School, it was Shasta College, and it was built in the 1950s. Or maybe it was the 40s, and I'm not remembering it correctly. This is a building that should have had a wall around it decades ago. Where is the wall around my old high school? Why was I able to get into the building? I even remember walking past the heads and, oh yeah, I forgot that was there. um, okay. I am not sure what this is about, Ozzy. Heard of Russia? Heard of dead teens in Oregon? Monster due in court on child messing, etc. Kidnapped 2 teens overnight. Oh, but it's not getting better. In fact, it just keeps getting worse from there. Ozzy, message me. I'm very interested. And yes, I'm aware that Gordon Lightfoot, um, the singer of Ballad of Edmund Fitzgerald, passed away yesterday. It's not relevant to the channel, but it did happen. Well, it's relevant to me because I was a coastie. That's it. I want to talk about this morning's shooting. A man apparently walked into a medical center. Now, medical center is a wide range of facilities, up to and including advanced first aid stations, basically an ambulance with no wheels. So, hey, Shadow, made it. Cool. I'm not telling you a whole hell of a lot, and I'm telling you as much as I know. Just a medical center. He's so far he's killed 1 person, and 4 were shot. 4 more were shot. That's the last I have on that. Then he carjacked somebody, drove it clear across town, ditched that car, carjacked somebody else, drove it clear across town again. That's the last I've heard. The last I heard, I want to emphasize this, he's still at large. For possibly the first time ever, Mom's Demand didn't try to monetize it, so congratulations for finally having a little bit of decency there, Shannon. I'm sure I'll have an email about donate to our cause by the time I finish the stream. Of course I will. Because they've got to monetize every crisis. That would be really cool. There, Squatch, but not very good. Okay. Moving on. Why was this facility able to be gotten into? How did that happen? I'm going to get to that in a couple more minutes because I'm going to be calling some liars out. Well, I'm kind of halfway there, so I might as well go halfway to the end from here. And ask, what good did your federal law that bans firearms in medical facilities do? That's a federal law, by the way. It's not a state law. It's not a county or city ordinance. It is actually a federal offense to take a gun into a hospital or other medical care facility. What good did that law do? We've got one person who's dead, 4 more who are injured. And what to show for it? Another fail. Oh. I know Squatch knows the secret, so Caucasian Sasquatch, why don't you tell Shadow the channel's link to prohibition? And everybody, Squatch is going to spell it wrong. We don't stand on spelling around here. Really, we don't stand on spelling around here. You've seen my spelling. Even when I'm not deliberately doing it wrong, according to most people. My spelling sucks. No, they can't do that, Ozzy, but they'll try. Oh. Oh, excuse me. All right, moving on. All right. So your laws did what good? Your laws banning people from taking guns into medical care centers did what good? Now, I'm entering this next part very cautiously. All right. A lot of crazy, wild-ass rumors are running around. One of them is that this guy was a convicted felon. I have not, and I want to emphasize, not independently confirmed that. I haven't dependently confirmed it either. If he was, he shouldn't have had a gun to begin with. Again, your laws did what good? Okay. Shadow, hey, thanks for coming for as long as you could have. I'm really shocked that Squatch and Ozzy are here. And according to, StreamYard, there are 4 people here at the moment. So unless sometimes they count me and sometimes they don't. Thank you, Ozzy. Okay. Squatch is not going to say it, so I guess I got to do it instead. Dadislav is Volstead backwards. Literally, write it down one day, and then write it backwards, and you'll see the word Volstead come out. Volstead is the enabling act for prohibition. Oh, damn. Who'da thunk? All right. Your gun control laws didn't stop anything. It didn't even slow the man down. Didn't give him pause. At most, what gave him pause was panic when he started shooting and stopped thinking. I've heard cops refer to the next 20 or so minutes as the full tilt boogie. When you've killed somebody for the first time and your mind is not working quite the same way it was, say, 30 minutes ago. Unless you're a psychopath, in which case it means nothing to you. It really does. It's just, okay, I just killed somebody, so what? Okay. Hell, I got a little bit of full tilt boogie the first time I pepper sprayed somebody. And, oh God, it's been much more than 10 years, and I still wonder whatever happened to that guy. Although I've been told that he came back around. See ya, Squatch. Or, Shadow, rather. Yeah, get back to your homework. Where are they indeed? They are sitting in somebody's car because you're not allowed to carry a gun into a school or into a medical center or a dozen other places. And like a scene out of The Matrix, here comes the guy with a literal arsenal who does not care about your laws. As if to underscore his own point, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Caucasian Sasquatch. Yeah, bud, education is important. I don't think that was a shit post, by the way. I think he was. And Ozzy for the point after. I think you guys are just trying to fuck with me now. That's okay. I don't care. I don't actually care, but it's funny. Moving on. All right. So, let's go back to schools for a second. In the wake of the Nashville shooting, various people were calling for more school security. And critics of school security started whining and crying and bitching and pissing and moaning and lying about turning schools into prisons. It's not like this is a secret or anything. I just don't talk about it every week. For those of you on Facebook, I have mandatory carry page. I set up the 9017 page, but I don't actually run it anymore. Once in a while, I stick my face in there if there's something specific. But I am also the S in HLS Security Services. Yeah, I'm actually the S. H is my older brother who passed away in 2020. L is Sissy. Oh, fuck it. You can't do anything to her now. Lincoln. uh, Jasmine Lincoln. I was new-ish to Sacramento. Was riding the light rail, and I noticed this one guard every day on the light rail. I don't know how it is that our schedules kept meshing up. No, it's nothing like that. It was just totally happenstantial that every time I got onto the train, she was there. One day I ran into her at a bar. She's off the clock, and I just started talking to her. You know, I'm a guard too. I work for JWA. You know, what's it like being on the light rail? Blah blah blah. And we both started talking shit about clients. I mean, seriously, mad shit. Things that if they had ever heard us talking about that sort of stuff, we would have been fired, and rightfully so. I may have mentioned to her that a particular California state building has a specific door that is always unlocked. It is never fucking locked. Because employees walk out through that door and they don't close it behind them. Once it's closed, it's locked during the day. Well, and after, actually, as well. Employees are walking out that door all day, every day, and leaving it wide open. I may have even mentioned exactly which door it was. She may have mentioned, she did, that the biggest problem she had on the light rail, after people not paying the ticket or buying a ticket, which was not actually technically her job, was prostitutes and Johns hanging out on the train because they think nobody's going to watch out for them there. Well, that's a big part of what her job really was. Chase them off the train. Now, folks, there might be some wisdom here. Hold up. Caucasian Sasquatch, I have received your input, Carrie, and refute every aspect of your shtick on the basis of if Carrie says it's a good idea, don't do it. That might be some wisdom, folks. Not a lot, but maybe a little bit. All right. Anyway, so yeah, me and Sissy got that. That was her nickname. Well, that's how she preferred to be referred to anyway. We got to talking shit about our clients. 2-3 weeks later, with the help of my brother, we incorporated as HLS Security Services. What our business plan was to advise clients on how to secure their buildings better, secure their properties better. Had we been contracted by the aviation industry or federal regulators, 9/11 would never have been able to happen. We would have lost 4 planes, and that's it. Crashed over a field. Maybe, just maybe, they could have planned it so that the plane crashed over a city and done some more damage. But crashing them in the World Trade Center, in the Pentagon, and God knows where the 4th plane was headed, wouldn't have happened. It would have been literally impossible. SWAT teams would have had a hard time getting into that cockpit. They would have been able to take over the cabin. Well, from there, it's just a simple matter. If the cockpit is still under control and the plane is not returning to Earth under uncontrolled power, okay, fuck it. We're going to crash this plane. We're just going to crash it in a logical manner. Well, in the middle of an empty field, maybe even wheels down, because why not? Okay. I'm sorry, folks. I am trying to catch up with the chat. Had issues with doors not secured as employees exit midwinter. Stairwell because of sleeping area for the homeless. There is a polite way to say get the fuck out. Saying get the fuck out is probably not the most polite way. No, you cannot live on a boat, Squatch. You don't know how. Okay, I am caught up. Oh, that's right. He has mentioned something about that in the past, hasn't he? Squatch, I will give my blessing to you living on a boat if you complete a Coast Guard boat approved boater training program, which means you'd be like basically a recruit out of Cape May level training versus an actual sailor. Show me you've done that, and I'll bless it. Until then, the answer is no. All right, moving on. That is my second beer, folks. By the way, that is Budweiser. It is Budweiser, not light. Don't drink light beer. But it is Budweiser, and I don't care. It's good you recognize your limitations there, Aussie. But the coastie in me says, if you're out on a boat and it's not a professional boat, like a cruise liner, you better be wearing a fucking life jacket. I even get into it with coasties about that. Not going to get into that story too far, though. Moving right along. This lie about turning schools into prisons is just that. It's a fucking lie. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing it. I cannot tell you how tired I am of hearing it. Right? People go into Disney World all day, every day. I've been there. I've done that. I have a photo with Mama Carrie coming off of Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain? I think it's Splash Mountain. My face looks like I'm about to die because I thought I was. Mom's face was so excited. The apple fell a little far from the tree there. And it was me and Mom. Not my brothers, not my dad, nobody else. Ozzy, you're Canadian. Can you even get Anheuser-Busch? Moving on. I have never heard Disneyland referred to as a prison before. That's never, to my knowledge, happened. There's been gang fights in literally, hey, Swiss, um, in literally every single part of the park, including what was called uh, Toontown for about, what was it, 5 years that was set up that way. Well, I don't recommend you live on a boat either, Swiss, but if you do, talk to Squatch. He'll bring you up to speed on the rules. Um, I've also never heard Six Flags referred to as a prison. They don't tolerate the gang fights there. You get booted from that place once, you're gone for life. I have never heard. Um, oh, what was the other one I was trying to think of? Anyway, I have never heard any of those places referred to as prisons. Oh, I take that back. I've heard Disneyland referred to as part of a prison in Escape from Los Angeles. It was the headquarters of one of the gang leaders. Well, no shit, it's a pretty secure facility. Why are we tolerating schools being so open that I can literally walk in off the street? Oh, correction. I can drive in off the street, pull into a parking space, which is still the school's property, by the way, walk literally all over basically 2 schools without seeing anybody, and yet we call Disneyland a prison. I had better not hear anybody else ever refer to the turning schools into prisons line, because I will absolutely fucking call you a liar right then and there. Oh, by the way, it's not my norm to re-upload the streams to Facebook, but I will be re-uploading this one for the sake of Mr. David. Go walk moose. Fuck you, spell check. We don't stand on spelling around here. All right. There is a way to harden schools to the point where even SWAT teams and firefighters would have trouble getting in. And SWAT teams and firefighters don't care if they make a whole lot of noise. I swear to God, I think SWAT guys like making noise. That's my impression of them. A few times I've had to deal with SWAT guys, they like making noise. They like breaking shit on their way in. Once they're in, they don't want to break anything else. Firefighters, I know they love making noise. They love making as much noise as they can. If they could turn their past devices on and just leave them on, they would. Well, yeah, it's because that noise is a really loud thing that will draw any survivors around them to the noise. Okay, that tells kids trapped in a classroom of a burning building, of a burning school, hey, safety is this way. This loud noise, come to the loud noise. I'm the way out. That's also why they love kicking doors and breaking glass and anything else they can do. And oh yeah, by the way, if a fire engine wants to get into a building, they're just going to batter in the door. They don't care. They just do $40,000 of damage to a $20,000 home. Okay. Did we get 3 people out of the building and 2 cats? Yeah. Great. What's the problem? I'm not even kidding. Firefighters love doing damage. And they don't care. They love breaking doors. They love breaking things. All right. And they don't feel the least bit bad about it afterwards. I'm not in much of a position to judge them, though, because as a coastie, may have sort of committed a sexual assault once in the process of saving somebody's life. I stuck my hand between her legs, I grabbed, and I threw her in the boat. And I don't feel the least bit bad. Okay, well, I did feel a little awkward about it at the time, but I really don't feel bad about it. This sounds like a school that really, really needs to invest in your basic maintenance and repair. Yes, they are, and they earned it. Yes, they are, because they're not allowed to. Most departments, they're not allowed to carry M16s, and I'm not even fucking joking. Some they are. Los Angeles Police Department's SWAT, which was the original, they carry M16s. This is a story I want to hear. Folks, and just for a quick review, no schools were not prisons, but now they can be graped in the shower, and there are no doors on the toilets. Sounds like a school that needs to invest in basic maintenance. They took off the doors. Okay. And that also happens. It has happened. And all too recently to actually deadly effect. But there's a lot more to that story than just the cops shot the guy. He came out shooting. And unfortunately, he's dead, so we don't know what he was thinking. But generally speaking, burglars and armed robbers don't knock. Just saying. If you want to know more about that story, it's over on Failure to Stop's channel. Last week? I think it was last week. Oh, Comm Center. Yeah, it was Comm Center, and it was last week, I think. What happens when cops knock at the wrong door? Flag on the play there. They had the wrong address. They were at the wrong address. And they figured it out. One of the cops stayed long enough to apologize while they came out shooting. Okay, we're getting a little off into the reeds here about the school with no doors on the toilets. That's a whole discussion that needs to be had And if it's, oh, Swiss, you got to go. Okay. Well, good night. I hope the new job's working out. All right. So back to my rant about fortifying schools. It is well past time that we get around to doing this on HLS, as HLS, I guess I should say. I actually put a line diagram for a model school. Now, it was not quite military grade, but it was more than enough that if somebody came to the school to do something they should be not doing, you're going to have a good hard time getting into the building to begin with. If they do get into the building, and that could happen, there are escape routes for the students. And yes, this hypothetical bad person might get into one of the classrooms, but he's not going to get any further without heavy equipment. One of these days, when I can get Drew or Eric or, Drew or Eric's attention, I'm going to try to get them off to the side and say, okay, guys, this story about there's nothing else they could do at Uvalde, it's not quite right. I'm not calling Drew and Eric a liar. Well, liars, I guess I should say. There was only so much the cops there could do. There was something else they could do that they didn't do, because I don't believe that the cops there could have thought of something like this. This is definitely Kerry level thinking. That's not always a good thing. And worse still is, if I did what I'm thinking, I would be in prison right now. If I'd been there and done that, I would actually be in prison. I would belong in prison. And what I did was reckless and insane and of highly questionable value. It would have worked at least one time. But it was extremely dangerous. It'd be the equivalent of throwing a hand grenade into the classroom and expecting it to bounce off the bad guy's skull. Yeah, it's not the way hand grenades work. Would definitely have got the cops a whole lot closer to where they wanted to be, a whole lot faster. So it's one of those, like I said, throwing a hand grenade into the classroom, hoping it bounces off the bad guy's skull. Yeah, okay. If it bounces off the bad guy's skull, he's in for another little world of hurt. Flag on the play. My plan would probably have killed one of those kids. 1 versus 19. One random versus 19. I'd belong in prison. I'm okay with that. And 18 kids would have still walked out of that building. Now, okay, Ozzy wants to know, my hypothetical hand grenade bounces off his skull and bounces to where? Yeah, he's right. That's that's what's known as a command decision. You make the decision, you go with it, and you deal with it. No, Ozzy, that wouldn't apply to me. I'd still be alive afterwards. And then I'd be getting carried by 12 in about 10 years. But by God damn, it would work. I'm just letting that out there. Okay, because I didn't have enough time to find it before I went live. I saw a video this morning. Where the hell was that? Anyway, I don't even remember how I found it. There was a drag queen story hour down in Texas somewhere. Oh, the hell was that? It was one of those two-part name cities. So it wasn't Houston or Dallas or anyway, this particular city is having a drag queen story hour. On one side of the street, people protesting drag queen story hour. On the other side of the street is Antifa with guns. I don't know where the story hour is relative to the no, not El Paso. I don't know where the story hour is relative to these two groups. I have a guess. That's not relevant here. Security camera footage clearly shows a member of Antifa crosses the street with a gun. He has a gun on his back. Walks up to one of the protesters. Now, what happens in this particular... Oh, San Antonio. Thank you. It was San Antonio. How did I forget that? They've got this great canal system. Okay. Security camera footage can't tell us exactly what happens in the next 10 seconds. But they do show very, very clearly the Antifa pepper sprays at least one of the protesters and then walks away. You do not walk up to somebody. I don't care what they said or did. Stand there for a moment, pepper spray them, and then claim that you're the victim. That's not how it works. The night I pepper sprayed that dude, this is not a secret, folks. I've talked about this before, right? I'm walking by, I see the confrontation. I walk away because I'm not involved in this thing yet. Hey, Spock, I'm not involved in this thing yet. I went, got cash, came back. The confrontation is over. One of them has left. Okay, great. I sit down. I get the story. This guy came in. He was harassing some girls. They told him to leave. They weren't asking. The girls were lesbians. They were not interested in him. Okay, fine. That's great. Good for you, ladies. You're not interested in him? Okay. After acting like he was, according to the other bartender that I talked to, I don't care. Lesbian, straight, bi, something else. I'd have been a big hard pass on him anyway. Let me rephrase that. I'd have been an absolute no questions asked. Don't even talk to me, dude. I remember I'm talking to the guy that he had the confrontation with, who happens to be a bouncer at a place down the street. If this guy comes back, there's going to be a problem. I had my pepper spray in my pocket. All of a sudden, bouncer pops up like a piece of toast, says, "Nope, you're out of here." Oh, yeah. No, you're out of here. I very, very calmly turned in my seat, and holy shit, there he is. He's back all right. That bar staff comes charging out. Bouncer from the other place comes charging out. A standoff forms at the door. And the next thing any of them know, well, okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. Back it up just a touch. I see dumbass shrug his shoulders like he's getting ready to take a swing. Next thing any of them know is bouncer from down the street says, "I saw something over my right shoulder," and all of a sudden all hell broke loose. Yeah, what he saw was me reach over. I remember his fucking ponytail in my face. Me reach over his shoulder and I sprayed everybody. Didn't care. To this day, I don't feel the least bit bad about pepper spraying him. I only kind of felt bad because he went running off into the street, into the night, towards the bridge. Did he get hit on Capitol? On Capitol? I don't know. Did he fall off the bridge? I don't know. I kind of feel bad about that. I feel bad if he died because he was stupid. I don't feel bad because I killed him. Okay. Where was I going with this? I don't feel. I really don't feel bad. Oh, this guy walks across the street with the intention of starting a fight and then sprays somebody, and is now trying to tell everybody that he's the victim. Oh, it got much worse from there. It got much, much worse from there. As the cops are charging it now, folks, if the cops had just drawn their guns and started shooting, because these guys have got guns, they probably would have been justified. A legitimate threat of imminent loss of life. These Antifas are standing there waiting for an excuse to start shooting. I don't care. This thing with the pepper spray, that was just an escalation attempt to try to get these guys to start fighting back so they could shoot. And I dare even Squatch to come in to the chat and say, no, they're not justified. Folks, Squatch really hates cops. All right? Actually, Ozzy doesn't like them much better either. Ozzy, you tell me that the cops would not have been justified opening fire. Don't even ask questions. At this point, it's just start shooting. Oof. Ozzy, you're lucky you didn't crack your head, literally. Like, skull fracture. Or worse, really. Like, I'm going to ask Dad about that. When I go see him, not this weekend, but next. You're kind of lucky to be alive. Moving right along. Instead, the cops actually charged up and tried to take take the pepper spray guy specifically in, take him down without killing him. Okay, San Antonio police, good job, excellent job. I'm shocked because I can look you guys in the eye and say you probably used excessive restraint. When I was in the guard, we would have absolutely fucking killed those guys. Well, at least that guy. It's just the way it is. All right, we would have shot first and asked questions later. Or maybe not asked so much as answered quite a few afterwards. Did I mention it gets worse? Apparently, Antifa had their own little medic with them who's trying to push her way past the cops because this guy is saying, somebody help me, right? No, dude, you fucked up. You completely, totally, absolutely, at every fucking level, fucked up. You're lucky, extremely lucky, that the cops are showing the kind of restraint they are. That they didn't just shoot you right away. And now this chick is trying to force her way past the cops. Why is he calling for help? Because he's about to get his ass beat. He's probably going to end up with a tune-up. Even if the cops don't want to go there, probably is going to end up with a tune-up. To the tune of about $20,000 in medical bills. What? You played with fire and now you're burned. She's lucky she didn't get thrown to the ground too for interfering with a lawful arrest at every level. This is a good arrest. It is actually the guy that they wanted, who is armed and violently protesting. Shit like that is the reason why the violent political protester exemption is there. Just being a member of Antifa is not good enough. You actually have to do something. This guy did something. The chick, he kind of borderline. Okay. I want to point something out. I've been going at this for a couple minutes. That was Squatch's response. I'm just saying. And Bo's been going on about it for at least a minute or so. Oh, a lot more than a minute. Okay, so a couple minutes. Let's go with a couple minutes. I just said those cops could have shot the shit out of that kid. And what? We'd all be upset and devastated for his parents. And that's about it. Of course, they would be on unpaid leave, or maybe it's paid leave. No, that's not the least bit frustrating there, Squatch. Actually, I guess it is paid leave. My bad. because he fucked around and he found out. And he's very, very lucky that he only found out to the tune of about $20,000 in medical bills. Let me rephrase that. He may have only found out to the tune of $20,000 in medical bills and probably a felony conviction. Felony assault and battery. No justification at all. You don't get to go to somebody, hit them, and then pretend like you're the victim. That's not how it fucking works. Mr. David, talking about you, you little cocksucker. We're not going to go there right now, Ozzy. All right. I'm not interested in declaring war on Russia today. We'll do that tomorrow. I'll get around to it sooner or later. All right, we're at about an hour now. And I need to check something. What the hell? Done. Okay. Anyway. I mean, this story that they're protecting something or whatever, or trying to accomplish a noble goal, it's about as ridiculous and asinine as the story I just saw a couple days ago on Facebook about how Florida Republicans, and so I mean Ron DeSantis, let's get to the point here, had To Kill a Mockingbird removed from state school libraries. No, he didn't. That never happened. A school removed it and put it back. And from the sound of it, it was a couple days later. Okay. The school pulled it for a couple days and then put it back up. You don't, as the librarian or school staff in general, you don't just get to pull a book off the shelf because you don't like it. So why was it pulled? Well, I can tell you that a lot of times books do get pulled from schools because they're damaged or they're thought to be damaged. And you gotta check and see, is the book really, page 328, is it really torn out? No, it's not really torn out. Or maybe it is actually torn, but no, they were not renovating the library. It was removed from the library for a reason. All right. It was listed as not available at the school. All right. Oh, excuse me. Damn these again. They pulled the book for a few days, probably to see if it was damaged or something else. It's not like they were removing it with the intention of taking it out of inventory. They pulled it because something was wrong and they needed to check. And went back up a couple days later. After I dug into this crazy bitch's story about what was going on, I remembered, oh yeah, that was about 5 years ago that I heard about it. And apparently it was a couple of years before that. And then it was down and up before anybody even noticed. Maybe one of the librarians got concerned about some of the language in the book. They used the word nigger. Yeah, that happened in To Kill a Mockingbird. I want to say it's about 3/4 of the way through the book during the trial. Okay, so what about it? I'm waiting. A librarian may have noticed the language and some of the other undertones of the story. Flag on the play. There's a part in the book where a local psychopath, basically, tries to rape Scout, who's an 8-year-old girl. And the monster that everybody's so afraid of, Boo Radley, comes out and beats his ass. That's what happens. Boo Radley came out and beat the guy. Pretty ugly from the way I remember the story. Boo Radley really beat this kid. Like, just absolutely inhumanly beat him as he was getting ready to rape an 8-year-old. Okay, so that's some pretty shocking themes, rape and of a child, and absolutely mind-blowingly violent response. One of the librarians may have actually just reached up and said, we need to talk about this book. Something is wrong. Yeah, they use some language that we don't use anymore. And they have this attempted rape scene. What? This is her story. Are you really going to say that we're going to not allow this book to be read? Put it back up on the shelf. Get back to work. Don't do it, Ozzy. I know where you're going. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. A little bit of an update. Apparently, the Atlanta shooter is now in custody. He was on his. The claim is that he was on his way to a mental health appointment. Thanks, Jen. Also, somebody doesn't like the fact that I use cursey faces a whole lot because I didn't want to say what I was really thinking. Guys, I don't even think I've heard of that one. So there's that. Also, you may have to resend that. Okay. 19th century English. No wonder I haven't read it or even heard of it. The only thing about 19th century England or Britain or Great Britain or British Empire that I actually care about is the industry, the factories. Remember, folks, my degree is in history, not English. And if you have ever seen my spelling, you know why. I couldn't have passed that program with a tutor. Um, right. Since this is going back up on the Facebook page, and then I'm going straight into fascist book prison for 30 days. And I'll see you when I come out. I'm sorry. I'd love for anybody to tell me what good gun control did. A guy who should not have had access to a firearm clearly had one and used it. Okay, I think I'm up to speed. Before I was eligible and year after. Okay. White next. I don't know what green and white means, Ozzy. Ozzy, message me on Discord. Maybe we should talk about it there. Okay. All right. What good did your gun control laws do? Just tell me. Obviously, it worked so well in Atlanta. You know what? I'm going to go there. You guys are going to see this in real. First step is that. Second step, I'm going to stop the screen and present. Share screen. Good. All right, here we go. Is it aligned properly? Hope so. Good. Everything's lined up properly. Home made guns, arrest, London. Oh, well, that's a fast start. I mean, even I didn't see that coming. Oh. And it's going to be flooded with this, isn't it? 2023, yeah. Um, uh, Garden Shed Gun Factory, that was 2008. Oh, okay. Haha, yes, I believe this is actually the right story. A gunsmith who converted replica guns into live submachine guns that were used in a wave of shootings and murders has been jailed for at least 11 years. Man gets life in Garden Shed Gun Factory. Has been jailed for at least 11 years. Okay. No thread for silencer, Allen screw. I'm going to guess that this is a side-by-side comparison of, yep, this is the guy. Gret Wilkinson, 35, 4, modified the weapons in a garden shed in Berkshire before they were sold to criminal gangs. One of them, a Mac 10 submachine gun, was used during a robbery in Bradford in 2005, which led to the death of PC Sharon Beshenkivsky, although it was not the murder weapon. Another was used to shoot dead Michael Dasunmu, 15, who was killed in his rack in Peckham, southeast London in 2007. Yeah, okay, we're good. This is the right one. Mac 10, which can fire 1,200 rounds a minute. Okay. I'm not in a great position to dispute the number right now. That does not sound right. It's a favorite of Yardie-style gangsters and is nicknamed the Spray and Pray because of the difficulty in controlling its firing. That is not the nickname of a Mac 10. Spray and Pray is a method. It's when you have it on automatic, you squeeze the trigger and you spread them everywhere, praying that they hit something. Wilkinson bought blank firing replica guns on the pretense they were to be used in a James Bond film. Reading Crown Court heard, he then converted them in a building at 3 Mile Cross in Berkshire before selling them. Stop screen. Oh, you know what? Why not? Go ahead and call me a liar. Don't care. And when this goes, oh, I can do that right now. I can add that to the description right this second. Edit. Ha. Save changes. The broadcast must be scheduled in the future and within 1 year. Please edit the start time. Am I not live, guys? What the fuck? All right. Well, I'm sorry, and I will add it to the description just after we end the stream. How about that? Present. Share screen. Hey, Black Magic. I did not think you were going to come. All right. Okay. Here we go. Asked twice, had it ear. What you hear when you put your ear to the railroad I don't put my ear to railroad tracks as a train approaches, so I would have no idea. 3,600 rounds per minute, so rate of half a second per round. Okay. 1,200 rounds. Let me make sure I read that right. 1,200 rounds per minute. Okay. 1,200 divided by 30 divided by 60 is 20 rounds per second. Okay. So I think we all understand that that was bullshit. Hail chat. Come over here from Ryan's channel or something there? Black Magic? Moving right along. Oof. Folks, I'm sorry. I did not pee before I started the stream. So it's I'm drinking a little. So yeah, 20 rounds per second is absolute fucking bullshit. That's I think that's faster than a M134 can fire. MTAC 134 rates of fire is up to 6,000 rounds per minute. Okay. All right, 6,000 is around 100 rounds per second. Okay. All right. You kind of stand corrected. You know what? I don't give a shit who calls me a racist. Fuck it. My kiking nigger ass can handle it. My Korean left nut doesn't like it, though. It sounds like it would jam. You can't even put 1,200 rounds into a magazine for a MAC-10. That magazine does not exist. All right. So you could never test it. But, you know, if you could, I'm pretty sure 20 rounds a second is bullshit. Try more like 5 seconds. Tops. So, yeah. All right, so Black Magic accidentally brought something up. This is not a gun exclusive channel. Any kind of arms, any kind of Second Amendment solution, right? Ozzy and Squatch are probably sick to death hearing me talking about brass knuckles. And they got to be sick to death hearing me talk about pepper spray. And if you follow the Instagram or Facebook page, yesterday I posted something about whips. I've talked about whips. I've never actually talked about spears, swords. Talked about knives a little bit. What else? Oh, batons. I've mentioned batons. Make swords great again. I mean, they're not really practical, but meh. Talked about bayonets. A bayonet just turns your rifle into a spear. I'm just saying. It's also why fixed bayonets took the name she did. She's been out of the Marines for just over 20 years now. And she still does bayonet drill. And I've even talked about black powder. And by the way, yes, black powder cannons are legal in the United States. I don't know who told Joe to say that. They have literally never been illegal. That's never even been discussed. Matter of fact, the Battle of Concord in Lexington. This is the shot heard round the world, right? The not the Connecticut, Lexington, New Hampshire. Anyway, the state militia built this fort, right? At the fort was a half dozen or so cannon, and these were older British Army cannons. They were kind of out of date. They'd been sold on as surplus. The militia bought them. Okay. No big deal. This happens all the time. The militia takes it and puts it in this fort. And the 7-year war, I think it was, ended in Europe with a new treaty between Britain and France about whose dick is bigger. Now Britain has all of this army, surplus army. They sent them over to the American colonies because part of the 7-year war had been the French and Indian War. Massachusetts, thank you, Black Magic. Lexington, Massachusetts. All right. The first thing they do is they move into the army, or into the militia fort, and they take over the place. Whether you agree with that decision or not, they did what they did, and the locals got very upset. One night, one of those cannons disappeared. Poof, it's gone. Soldiers went to sleep. Somebody stood up on the parapet to keep watch, and the next morning, the cannon is gone. This is very embarrassing for the British Army. They want that gun back. They want to know who took it, and they want to know why. They knew it was a colonial militia, and they're not sure why. So they start following a trail that they think will lead them back to the cannon. That's when the confrontations at Lexington and Concord happened, and that's why the British Army was going up that road. The lieutenant who was sent on that mission to recover that gun didn't give a rat's ass one way or another about the militia. That's why when he comes up to, I think it's Lexington, He tells him, just get out of my way and there won't be a problem. Nobody knows who fired that first shot. And I have this vague suspicion that it wasn't one of the militiamen and it wasn't one of the British soldiers. It was somebody looking to start the war off right, knowing this confrontation could lead to bloodshed, and fires a shot. The boyfriend's a lot smarter than his date. Yeah, we know, Ozzy. That's part of the reason I've been talking to people for you. Actually, Ozzy, are black powder revolvers illegal up there? I think that might be the only thing you guys got left. Okay, you know what? It's been an hour and a half. I've dragged this out far enough. I think I put Squatch to sleep. And I chased Shadow and Swiss Miss out already. So, gun control did nothing to stop this morning's active shooter. Zero, nothing. It may have made the situation worse. Did nothing to stop the Nashville shooter. It did nothing, less than nothing, to stop the Uvalde shooter. Sandy Hook actually made that situation worse. For those of us that are old enough to remember, Columbine. It made that situation worse too. The idea that banning guns will make them mysteriously go away, I think, was sufficiently disproven by gun control has failed. There's going to be a part 2. It was supposed to be out this week, but I went back and watched the intros part, the part with just me. And I realized, no, that's not going to work. Gandhi was a wise man. Wait. Apparently I didn't put him to sleep because he's telling the truth. Squatch is just hating me for being me. Well, is he wrong? If he is, somebody speak up. I sleep very comfortably at night, but then again, not normal. Hey, Bernie made it. All right. Gun control did nothing to stop every school shooting since Columbine. Absolutely nothing, and it made all of them, worse. Literally all of them. Every promise they made us to get a gun-free schools act passed has been broken. Every single fucking promise they made has been broken. Oh, sorry. It hasn't stopped anybody from making guns, which, by the way, will be brought up in part 2. But the main focus of part 2 will actually be munitions. The idea that you can ban ammo doesn't work either. Here's a thought. How about we start arming people instead of disarming them? Call me crazy. All right. Whoa, where did... Oh. I want to point something out. And Ozzy be a bigger expert on this than I am. Black Magic says, banning guns creates soft targets. Crazy, weak, psychotic individuals like soft targets. Stop creating victims with soft targets. Ozzy, wasn't there a cop murdered up in Canada last year or the year before? On duty, by the way. Jesus, Black Magic's a lot older than I thought. You might even be slightly older than me. Not by a whole lot. I've seen your face, so don't bother denying it. But I remember the last year that guns were allowed in your truck, in the parking lot. They better stay there. I guess I am older than you, but I don't know how you remember that far back. And as I head out, I want to entertain myself with this. Oh, it'll be up there. L. L. I know each and every one of you is going to fucking spurg out harder than I do on Iran over this. Oops. Maybe it's a PNG? Uh-oh. Looks like I lost it. Oh. Yes, I see it moving, guys. Don't want to go the hard way. Oh, hell, I guess I gotta go the hard way. Do. I've... thanks. Fuck off. Do. I know everybody's going to hate this, but you know what? I loved it. Um, mm, mm, the hell? Man, this is an active Discord. Stop screen. Presents. Share screen. And I hope you hate it. But only half as much as I love it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a bolt action, lever action, belt fed rifle. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with that for you to grok on all week. Ladies and gentlemen, keep calm and mandatory carry on. Yes, and because I got shit.